Hello and welcome to Nerd News, brought to you by Cult Classic Society. I am Bobby Davies. In this episode, I'm just going to be talking you through some news of upcoming media, some stuff that's hit the media news, and stuff that I've just been enjoying or watching or listening to. Just have a quick little chat about it, not as long as the main episodes, but going to cover some stuff we don't always get to cover. On to something we have covered a lot, but never enough for my liking. Pokémon. Day of recording, yesterday was Pokemon Day, 27th of February, and this comes out on the Monday just after, so not long after, and Pokemon Company made a big announcement. They are releasing a sequel to the very good game, Pokémon Legends Arceus. Pokémon Legends Arceus might be my favourite Pokemon game, bar the originals. It is open world, there is no entering into battles, you just sneak around, try and catch Pokemon. You can battle them, but you don't need to enter a load screen and it be separate. It is all on the map in the open world. Most of you know what open world means, and it is just good fun, a diverse landscape, good selection of Pokemon, taking it into a historical setting. It doesn't specify how long ago, but it is in the distant past. There are some Pokemon that we can only assume are now extinct that you can catch, and you're building a Pokedex like the regular games, except this Pokedex is written in a notebook as opposed to a digital little kind of handheld computer, almost like a phone now, but when they first came out they were quite futuristic. And they have Pokemon Company have announced the release, which will be next year, and it's such a long time to wait, of Pokémon Legends Z-A, Z-A, whatever you want to call it. And this one appears to be set in the future. It's set in Kalos, which is the Pokemon world's equivalent of France. I suppose Galar, which is the equivalent of the UK, was just too recent, but fingers crossed. Maybe Black and White, the equivalent of America. We'll see. But this is set in the French region. They'll bring in Mega Evolutions back, which is my favourite Pokemon gimmick. There's been Terrestrializing, which is in the most recent games, where it kind of turns your Pokemon into a form of crystal and changes their type. That's okay. There was Gigantamaxing in Sword and Shield. That's okay. But Mega Evolutions was definitely the best gimmick the Pokemon's had, and they're bringing it back. It debuted in X and Y, which was also set in the Kalos region, which I suppose is the nice link to it. I'm hoping they think that this is then going to be like the established boost gimmick, as opposed to the other boost gimmicks that are around. I think it's the best one, and I hope that it just becomes the standard one, because it is the best. What's really interesting is with this one being set in the far future, and Legends Arceus being set in the far past, Violet and Scarlet, which are kind of the current generation of the mainline Pokemon games, are set in modern day, but have endgame and DLC that you can catch, depending on which version you're playing, prehistoric Pokemon or Pokemon from the future. So they've weirdly sandwiched Violet and Scarlet between those two games that are set in the past and future, and then the middle game you can get Pokemon from the past and future. I don't know if it was intentional originally, I don't know if they had Pokemon Z-A in their head already, in their plans, but it has come together nicely, and I am excited to play Pokemon Legends Z-A, even if I've got to wait a year. If you watched or listened to the first episode of Nerd News, I spoke about a mod, which isn't, mainstream, but it is big. Fallout London, a mod of Fallout 4, brought to you by Team FOLON, have previewed their last big update video before the game's release. It's being released on the 23rd of April 2024, and it looks brilliant. The graphics look brilliant. The mod looks brilliant. The setting of London looks brilliant. The thing that films and games often get wrong is UK settings. Sometimes you can capture the vibe, but I feel like this team behind this have actually captured realistic parts of the map. We actually go to the areas that I grew up in and that I worked in and lived in, Croydon and Bromley. The bus I used to get to work is a burnt out husk on the side of the road in the game. My local pub was in the first update video. It was weird to see, but awesome, and I cannot wait to run around a Fallout post-apocalyptic war zone in areas I know, and it's super exciting, especially if the map is at least partially accurate, because just being able to like navigate your home city, your hometown, in my case the home borough of London, and it be realistic is going to be weird and amazing, and I can't wait. They showed us their collectibles that they put in game. Every Fallout game has collectibles, usually bobbleheads and comic books. This one does have comic books, but it also has beer mats because, you know, we're in London, everyone likes a pint. And it also has records, vintage 12-inch vinyl that you collect. I don't know, there wasn't much given about whether it would be kind of pun records, you know, because it's Fallout and they're always a bit tongue-in-cheek with their comedy, or were they going to be like UK artists and these are records you can collect to complete the collection. No, that hasn't been announced yet, but we'll see. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I think it's in an upcoming episode that we've already recorded but haven't released yet, where I say I don't think I'm going to be able to get to the cinema to see the Iron Claw before it gets pulled, and I'm probably going to have to watch it on TV. That did turn out to be the case. Katie, my wife, and I, we went to the cinema the weekend just gone, and we saw the Iron Claw, a movie about the Von Erich family and the tragedy that surrounds them. All but one of the Von Erich brothers has passed away at a young age, and it kind of shows their relationship with their father, who was classic and vintage and legendary wrestler Fritz Von Erich, and how they became legendary themselves as a team and as a unit and as individuals. And the film does a very good job of telling a lot of their stories. It's not entirely accurate, as biopics sometimes aren't. There is one of the brothers missing from the story, as apparently his story is very similar to one of the other brothers, and they kind of pulled it out for time. There is a cameo, a very small cameo, by one of my favourite wrestlers, MJF. Nice, just a nice little touch there. Zac Efron is playing the lead. He is Kevin Von Erich, and he does a brilliant job. Kevin Von Erich is the brother that is still with us. So if you like Zac Efron and want to see the movie, you can go. His character doesn't die, but beware, all of his brothers do. It's sad, but it's beautiful, and to see wrestling, and you know that me and Tim love wrestling, but to see wrestling captured in such a great movie is ace. Love it. Good work. And that's kind of all I'm going to talk about this week on Nerd News. I'm going to put the links for the trailers for Fallout London and the Pokemon Day announcement in the link below. I'll also put the trailer for Iron Claw. Go and see the movie, but the trailer is there. If you're interested, take a look. If you want to follow me on social media, underneath me here you can see my X and Instagram handle at bdaviescreative. That is where I post most of my creative work, also my work with Purpose Wrestling and Mighty Wrestling and any other projects I've got going on. You can find me there. You can also go follow Tim at The Tim Martini, The Definite Article. He also has some music out you can go listen to. He's on Spotify. Go check him out. He's on X and Instagram, I believe, at The Tim Martini, and TikTok, because, you know, he's young. Makes me feel tired. You can follow Cult Classic Society, see what kind of new episodes we got coming out, at CC Society Pod on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, and /CC Society Pod on Facebook. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube. Just search Cult Classic Society. We are on Reddit. Come find us on Reddit. We can have a chit chat. Love to have a chit chat in the comments. Come on, let's have a chat. Let's engage with each other. Let's talk about the best films and TV and video games and everything else. And you can email us, which is the one we seem to be forgetting recently. ccsocietypod@gmail.com. You can get us right there. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Cult Classic Society. And the week after that, Nerd News, and the week after that, Cult Classic Society. You get the picture. We alternate weeks. We'll see you then. Bye.